Hi, I'm Veronica, and I am a graduate student at Georgetown College, and I'm doing this video for my EDU 581 class. And this is Miss Lewis, and she's a teacher, she's a kindergarten teacher. So if you want to say anything about yourself.
This is my first year teaching kindergarten, which is crazy because I've been teaching this is my 17th year teaching. So I've taught second, third, fourth, fifth for a while, and then went back to second, and so this is new.
Yeah, thank you. So the first thing I wanted to ask you is if you've heard of WIDA before.
I have not heard of WIDA.
Okay, yeah, so WIDA is a consortium and is US based, and it's a collaborative group of 39 states. It started because of the No Child Left Behind Act, and it developed the English language proficiency standards for the EL students. The purpose is to advance academic language development and academic achievement for all of our culturally and linguistically diverse students, or ELLs. It developed a screener test, and that's what we use when we get a new student. The first thing we do is have them fill out the enrollment form, of course. And if the parents, there's a home language survey, the parents mark down that that there's another language spoken at home, we will screen the student. And if it's a kindergarten student, it's the screener is the KWAPT. Otherwise, also it developed an access test, and that's the test that the kids take every January to measure their growth and language proficiency. And that test is, kindergarten through 12th graders take that test. Also, the test assesses the students in the 4 domains of language, so listening, speaking, writing, and reading. What's nice about it is that once they take the test and then we know what level they're at, WIDA can do descriptors. And then it'll be by grade level and also be by proficiency level. So we'll know exactly what level they are and what they can do, because it's sometimes hard to know what they know and know what they can do, and they come really handy. I have printed the kindergarten one, and I'm just going to show you. Okay. So they have the reading, writing, listening, and speaking, and each level has all the things that they can do, and it comes really handy for lesson planning,
right?
And also for assessing, because you want to, when you assess, you want to test the actual content and have them do things that they can do, rather than giving them a test that's gonna assess the language that they're liking. Okay, so we talked about when they're first come in, and how they're getting to the program, the ESL program. So they take the screener test, and if they qualify, they will have a write up a PSP for them, and then we'll meet with a teacher and choose the accommodations for them based on what their needs are, the individual needs. And so for our student, for your student, his score was a 17 out of 30, and he got a 5 in speaking, but a 12 in listening. Okay, so and you probably have seen this in the classroom, where he doesn't talk a lot, or
no, he doesn't. Yeah.
He doesn't talk a lot. Okay, so that was his test, and so that's actually the mid-range. It's not the lowest, but it's the mid-range. So we, after the PSP, we'll send a letter home informing the parents that they are in the program, and they have the option to decline if they want to, but most of them don't. They want the help for the kids. Once they take the access test and they get a 4.5, If they get a 4.5 score out of 6, then they exit the program. They don't have to have the services anymore. However, they still are monitored for 4 years.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that they are still okay and that we're not exited prematurely.
Right.
Okay, so our friend, we're gonna call him Jay. He speaks Spanish at home, and he has a very limited proficiency, language proficiency. He does know some English, right? He does, but mainly he speaks Spanish at home, and his parents don't know Spanish, English, correct? So some of the accommodations that we had decided on when we did the PSP were provide visuals because of the lack of comprehension, engage in academic conversation, link instruction to prior knowledge, build background knowledge, scaffold responses, simplify language, model language, task completion, and interaction opportunities, which is a lot.
It is, yeah.
But he's just coming in and he needs a lot of help.
He does.
I feel like a lot of these things already as a kindergarten teacher you're already doing for all your students. Okay. So what have you observed in the classroom?
Okay. In the
With him.
classroom, he is extremely quiet. He's social. He's social, finally. It's been several months, but now he is social. And what I mean by that is, he does do a little bit of talking with friends, which is really nice to see, because in the beginning he didn't talk at all. But as far as interactions go.
Interactions or academics or anything.
Okay, academics. He struggles quite a bit. He doesn't when he came in, he didn't recognize any letters or sounds, and he was unable to write them. And so, but I don't know if he was just really quiet and hesitant to tell me that some of the things that he knows. But he's improved. Now we know a little bit more, so that's good. But I know that he doesn't have English anywhere except for the classroom, so it's all new to him. But
it's coming slowly.
It's coming slowly, and he's comfortable with me, which is good, because I think that he really wants to try, and he can show me one-on-one. He does a lot better, obviously, than in a small group or a whole class setting.
Right.
But he never calls, raises his hand to answer. He kind of wants to hide, really. You know what I mean by that? If I'm asking questions, he does not draw attention to himself at all.
He doesn't have the confidence to. That'll come in time also. So what are some formative assessments that you do in your classroom with the kids?
We do anecdotal assessments. I'll go around and I will ask them, when we're doing an assessment or when we're learning something, and then we walk around and I'll just check, and orally, I know they can show me or they can tell me. So you actually get a lot from that. We also play a game called Showdown with our whiteboards when we do math and other things, and they write their answer and then we'll say Showdown and they show me. So it's just a real quick way that I know. Also, sometimes I'll say, we do a thumbs up if we understand, or down if we don't, in the middle. That's kind of hard for kindergarten, but they're getting there since we've been in school for 64 days now.
Yeah.
And then we'll do little exit slips. So, but I feel like we're always assessing them. I feel like it's a constant thing. It's a small, I'm going to pull you back and check. We're getting ready to send home midterms, and so I reassessed every student again on all of their letter recognition, uppercase, lowercase sounds. If they don't know those, I haven't gone on to the writing of them yet, but at least for my second checkup. But so just some little things like that daily.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's great to do it continuously, and then of course give them the feedback if they get it right, or just I like that you're pulling individually too when they need the help. And
we do small groups in math and reading. We do whole group kind of things, but we also do math games, and so they're having fun and they're answering, or but we do small groups, so it's easier to see every child. I see every child every day. So
yeah, that's
good.
great. That's awesome. Also, I know that you do Lexia for collecting data. How is that working with our friend Jay as far as you know, being engaged and
Right. Well, he is not very engaged. I looked at my computers because I think of him, when he came, he didn't even know how to use a mouse. So that was a challenge. It is a challenge for him because he's not really understanding, and so just to have a screen in front of him, his face, like, I mean, it's just taking some time, or he'll be very disengaged, or he will accidentally log out several times,
yeah.
or just click randomly, you know. So I don't know how much he's getting from it, but
so yeah, at his level, and it just kind of, he is a little distracted because you know, he doesn't understand everything. Although that could be very good practice, maybe the data is not as accurate as how much he knows because he's not, you know, maybe doing it as much. He's distracted. So maybe, I don't, how many minutes do they do, and how often do they do
not very many. Well, we try to get, in one of my centers, we have 15-minute centers. Well, by the time they log on and log off and switch, it's well, 10 to, no more than 15 minutes. But sometimes they'll choose to do that during the day if they finish an activity. But my Jay doesn't really want to do that too much. But daily, at least 15 minutes a day.
Yeah, I feel like as he gets to learn more and is more proficient in English, he will enjoy that more. But I was going to suggest if it's a long period of time that he's in the computer, then maybe give him, you know, do it for 5 minutes, and then give him you know, positive feedback or a little break for movement, and then come back and do another 5 minutes. That way we know that in those 5 minutes he is giving his best,
right,
and trying. So that was one suggestion as far as Lexia.
That's good.
So in our class we've been talking a lot about and learning about authentic assessment, and I feel like at this grade level, you know, a lot of it is authentic assessment because you know, you learn through playing and activities, hands-on activities. It gets more complicated as they get older, and they have to do a lot more writing, and the assessments are more in form of written tests.
Right.
But some things, but in kindergarten, it's more hands-on, which is less intimidating for them, I think. But some of the ways to, I think, assess authentically kindergartners, or when you're trying to figure out what they know, it's through play. Exactly, because that's a real life thing that they do all the time, right, at that age. So identifying colors, for example, you have those tubs with blocks, and when they get time to play in centers and rotating centers, but it's a good opportunity to come to him and say, and have him sort, like, you know, the colors, different colors, and sort to see if they, you know, so that's less intimidating for them, and they are more willing to participate in it. Another one was for letters and numbers, because you said he struggled with his letters and numbers. You know, they love Play-Doh.
Yes.
So, and you know, they'll play with that forever, but maybe, you know, building the letter, and even though it's practice, we can still take, like you said, anecdotal notes to see how he's doing, and forming this, identifying the letters and forming the letters, and also one of the, in his can do descriptors for his level for reading. This is something that he's able to do. A couple of things. One of them is reproducing content-related information in oral text through drawings, and so when you read to him, or you're reading to the class, if that's a good way to assess his comprehension. If they can come up with a picture that can to them, you know, illustrate what they heard. Another activity he can do at his level of proficiency is acting out familiar rhymes from text, read aloud, or chanted in small groups. So, and that also helps him to interact with the other kids. If they pair them up or put them in groups and to act out some part of the rhyme. So that's a good activity for him, and to assess his comprehension of like what he's listening, if he's paying attention, is he's being able to understand what he's listening to or hearing. There's another one that I really was excited about to show you. This is a website. It's called Seesaw. And another way of assessing the kids is through, this is like a online portfolio. And with kindergartens, I mean, you can do a poster or however you want to do it, but this is a really easy way to do this because you pick it's free. You pick your level. So here's the pre-K first, and you select it, and then there's activities, and they get to do the activities just in the computer, and they give you the activity. And the nice thing about it is that you can share this with families. They can go and see it right there, and it's a good way for them to see what their child is doing, and it's fun, and you can see all the data of how they're doing.
That's good.
So that was a way to, and it's all posted there, different activities, so it's kind of like a portfolio for them, and it's online portfolio.
That's
so
neat.
yeah,
And I've never heard of that. So
yeah, it's really neat. So, but those are some ways that you can do more formative assessment here with the kids. But do you have any questions or?
I can't think of any, but I do appreciate your help always. So
Thank you. Well,
thank you.
I appreciate you too. So thank you so much.
Thank you.